here from Joiner Insurance Group. I have Cedric here. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, brother. How about yourself?
Thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for giving me your time.
Yep.
So, we talked a little bit off camera, and we talked before we first met. This is going to be a two-part interview. This is because it's so much that I want to unpack, and because it's a lot of layers to you. It's a lot of layers and different things we talked about the first night we met, and I just knew that one interview wasn't going to do it justice. And first and foremost, man, I just want to say, from things I know about you that you told me personally, thank you, man, for everything that you've been doing, because it speaks to who you are when you go above and beyond to do some of the things you did, deal with some of the things that you've done, and you're building a business and building a brand and helping a lot of people. It's continuous, and so how did that mindset get started? Was it something that was put in you, or did you just kind of see like, hey, this is a need? Because, how did that get started for you?
I think for the first and foremost, I just want to say thank you for having me on the show as well.
Appreciate it, man.
I think for myself, it probably started at a young age, being very independent. I would say growing up, I've always I was the oldest child.
Okay.
I had a younger brother that I had to take care of. He was autistic, so it made me real responsible at an early age, because not only did I have to take care of me, I had to take care of him. So, growing up, a lot of responsibility with that, and then the transition to different opportunities, because for some reason, I always felt like I should be able to make my own money.
Yeah.
So I had growing up, we lived in these apartment complexes, and I can remember at an early age learning from them fundraisers that you can make money that way. So I'll go out and I'll pick flowers. And I
Okay.
would go knock on people's doors and I would try to sell them the flowers.
Because when somebody's like growing up in a house instead of an apartment complex, a lot of times like quick little hustles. I was growing up was shoveling snow, cutting grass, raking leaves, stuff like that. But you had to think, because I was waiting to hear like what great idea did he have to come up with to make some money? Because you in the apartments, it ain't like you could do something for somebody besides, I guess, clean their house. You know. So you going to pick flowers? Where are you picking flowers from?
We lived, the apartment buildings, they said was a landfill at one time. So it was a lot of wooded area around us.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was easy to go in the woods and, find some wildflowers that were growing. And
Okay.
people, they knew me, so they would, people would buy it. I don't remember what I was selling it for. It couldn't have been no more than about 50 cents or something like that. But, at that time, I was making enough money where I can go to the store and buy me some candy. So,
Yeah.
and then, as I got older, had a long paper route,
Okay.
stuff like that. And then getting a job, in high school, working at McDonald's. I had another little job where a little summer job where we were doing cleanup at the high schools. And I grew up in Albion, Michigan. It's a little small town, so pretty much everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
Albion is probably about 150 miles west of here, between Jackson and Battle Creek.
Oh yeah, I know about it. I used to live in Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was neighbors.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody on the south side. Yeah. But Albion, kind of like a college town.
It's a college town now. Prior to that, I think it was more of an industrial town. We had a factory there, a foundry,
Yeah.
that made automobile parts, railroad brakes. It was called. It went through a whole bunch of buyouts, transitions. It was Harvard Industries, the Albion Malibu.
Yeah.
It went through a whole bunch of name changes, and pretty much every man that lived in that city, at some point you look forward
worked,
to that was go be your job.
Yeah. And they, and they're kind of up and coming. Places like Albion, Adrian. These towns are kind of up and coming. They adding a lot more things to them.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't sound like, even though you were in a small town, you were small minded. It seemed like it was some hustle. Was that around you, or was you kind of the one that kind of, would people look at you weird when you was going to get your hustle on? Because sometimes that happens to people when it's like you're the only one decisive. A person go get money, they like, I just want to play. What you doing?
For me, it was a little bit. It was different. I would probably say I was more of a leader during that time. I didn't really follow what other people was doing. I kind of made my own way because growing up, I was in the comic books. I did a lot of reading, and a lot of kids around me, they didn't do that. They wasn't in the comic books.
I love comic books as well. I mean, because I liked it, Wolverine and Batman so much. I wanted to be Batman so bad. My grandma used to let me treat the living room like it was Gotham City. I thought it was everything that she did. I love Dorothy Moulton so much. But like, did you see that quality in you early, did you kind of feel? Because sometimes people, when they have that leadership quality early, it kind of makes them a little bit of an outcast at different points. Did you ever experience that feeling?
Not as a out, not initially. That was probably when I got a little bit older. Growing up, I didn't realize that I was a teacher at that time, and that's why people followed me because I did stuff, and they wanted to do it, and I would show them how to do it. And my grandmother always told me I should have been a teacher, which I probably should have in hindsight, but I never followed through with that. But most of my jobs, I work with children from, I would probably say from like 19 to about, I think about 40. I worked with adjudicated youth, worked in youth homes, different capacities, summer programs, different things with kids. And I've always mentored younger adults.
Yeah,
Most of the kids I work with, 14 through 20, about 24, I think is the oldest.
And when you're doing a lot of, did you feel drawn to keep teaching? Because sometimes, not drawn to keep teaching. Did you feel inspired to keep teaching? Because a lot of people will have a passion to teach, and I've heard people feel beat down, feel like their what their goal was not as significant when they got out there and did it because people didn't appreciate it as much. Did you feel inspired and engaged over and over, or was it times where, because I kind of want to see if you could say something to the people that maybe feel a little discouraged today when they're trying?
I think for me, it was always about a better way or a better quality of life for myself. So I was always searching, and I figured education, maybe not formal education, but there was something out there that I didn't have to live a certain kind of way if I learned a different way. And so it's just like, if you think about it this way, everybody has the same amount of time. Everybody got 24 hours in a day. It's what you do with that day that determines what your life is going to be about. And so some people know what to do with their time, and some people don't know what to do with their time to live the way that they want to live. And then some people are too lazy to do stuff with their time.
Yeah.
So with that being said, for me, comic books led me to start reading because it made me read more. Comprehension was a little bit higher, so you'd read more. In my early books, I heard about Robert Kiyosaki. I know that's the quote unquote, go-to person, but that was the real person during that time period. If you grew up, if you were a 70s, 80s baby, Robert Kiyosaki was the hottest thing during that time period. When you coming up in your 20s. So reading his stuff, he talked about, cash flow quadrants, the different quadrants. He talked about residual income. In my household, we ain't never talk about residual income. We didn't talk about the different quadrants. All we learned about is go to school, get a good job, and you stay there till you retire.
Yep.
And get you a good pension, and you stay there and you try not to get in trouble. And I was like, nah, that's not the life. That don't sound fun to me.
Yeah. And I think in that generation, it changed the dynamic for a lot of people because they got privy to a lot more information because it was like, I remember like Good Times theme song, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking about like that song and it's like, they talk about struggle, then there's like good times. Like,
Right.
no, it's not good times.
No.
It's terrible. Like, what are we talking about here? Like
Scratching and
temporary
surviving.
layoffs. Like, what? No, this is terrible. What do we talk about? But that we got more privy to a lot more information, and you start seeing a lot of these new business owners, and that was an interesting way you went into learning more and comprehending more, and because I've never heard anybody do it that way before. It's usually somebody like, look, you need to see this, you need to read this, and they forcing it to them, or they stumble upon it because they believe they want to be an entrepreneur. But it seemed like it happened a little bit more natural for you.
It was more, like I said, I was just searching. I knew it had to be a better way because I was like, okay, you growing up in our time period too, watching the Albion struggle like it did, we went through a period, of course, everybody did, with the crack.
Yeah.
Crack came through and messed a lot of families up. Albion like folded during that time period. A lot of people moved, lost their jobs. You seen a lot of things that you wouldn't wish anybody seen. You seen parents do stuff with other people that you wouldn't normally see do. They would give away their clothes, cars, money, whatever, and it was like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah, that epidemic took out a lot of hopeful and like great people. It crippled a lot of people that just would have been decent people, everyday people, but it crippled a lot of towns.
But during that era too, it also made people want to sell drugs because that was the way to get the money. But you also destroyed the community. So it's like, okay, I can't do this. What else can I do? How else can I get some money? And like I said, that journey just led me to those books, like trying to figure it out.
So now you're getting to this point where you had taught for a while, but now you're getting to this point, and we definitely gonna peel back some layers of that time era in this next interview. But you're getting to this point now where, after teaching, after giving, and encouraging and inspiring others, and you're getting to a point now where you're about to get into insurance. Did insurance kind of stumble across you, or did you go looking for it?
Honestly, insurance kind of fell in my lap.
Really?
I was going through a period. I had got laid off I got laid off a couple times because working with youth, we had a lot of different programs that were funded through grants, and so you got the grant for 2 years, you got to refund it, go through a period where y'all don't have the money because they in negotiations or whatever, so we laid off. So it was during one of those down periods where I had a friend approach me, and she was selling insurance, and she said she was doing pretty good. And initially, when she first asked me, I was like, I ain't doing that. I said, I ain't going to talk people into buying stuff, because I felt like it's always been a negative connotation when you heard salesperson. It's like they slimy, they got to they got to talk you into doing stuff,
Always
and it's
bottom
like,
line.
and so I was like, that ain't me. I'm not that type of person. And she was like, think about it this way. She said, look, you work with children, families, most of your life. You went in, you helped the kids, helped them go on to school. You talk with the families, try to get the kids on the right plan. Think about insurance. What you're doing is teaching people how they can help their families or protect their families, protect the things that they love, their health, their loved ones, and their money. And I was like, I never thought about it like that. She said, you're not selling anybody nothing. You going in and you educating them on their options. And from there, they have to make a decision on what they want to protect and how they want to protect it. And I said, oh, okay. All right. So I said, I'll try it out.
And when you tried it out?
Yeah, I tried it out, and that was back in 2013 I got my license.
Okay.
And of course, it was a challenge because being self-employed, which most people are if you're an insurance agent. Some people are captured agents that they work for the company, but for the most part, you eat what you kill, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
If you don't go out there and you don't help people, you don't make any money.
Right.
So learning how to help people, learning the products, learning their situation and how you can impact them with the solutions that you have, and present them in a way that they feel like it benefits them was a challenge, because you going in, and sometimes logic makes sense to some people, but people buy on emotion. Most people buy on emotion. When they see a car, it's not they not excited about just get good gas mileage. They like, oh, this looks good. Oh, this is great. I like that red. You know, they excited about it. It's an emotional sale, and that's what most insurance sales are. They're emotional. People have to feel like they're getting something from it. So protecting their family, they got to feel good about doing that,
Yeah.
and they get excited about it and they get into it. So just learning how to present it in a way that that resolves their problem was a challenge. But once you overcome that hurdle, well, I guess you don't never overcome that hurdle because every individual has a unique problem. Everybody has the same problem but a different problem.
Yeah, but did you go in? Did you go in with the intention of trying it, or was it? I think I could really do. Like, did you have the confidence out the gate, or did you kind of like, I'm gonna try it?
I
See
said I was gonna try it because two, she was, she got something out the deal for me going there, and I was like, well, I'll try it out, and at least if worst come to worst, she still got she still get her incentive for
Yeah.
getting me to come there. But once I got there, my thing was I'm a stubborn person, so my thing is, and stubborn might be the sound like it's negative, but I don't quit very easily. So I wasn't gonna fail. You can't fail unless you quit. And so I wasn't gonna quit. And I struggled, but I didn't quit. And 10 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah, and so when you first going out and when you was first learning the process and what you were getting into, was it building your confidence at that point, or were you seeing more challenges like I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that? Like, did it start to dawn on you like all the way? Did you embrace the challenge at that point? Because it's a lot of different ways of thinking about this.
It was initially when I went into it, I saw the money that you can make, and that's what I got excited about. And so for my thing was, I'm a sell, and I had the wrong mindset going into it because I'm thinking about selling, not resolving problems. And those are two different mindsets when you go into a place, and when you go in with that approach, people go shut you down because they can smell it.
Did you try that approach initially?
Yeah, when I went into
The
the
sales
house, it was
approach?
more of a sale. They say they want life insurance. Okay, I got this, and this. Which one you want? That was kind of the approach because you're so excited and you're
Yeah.
like, which one do you want? And it's like, well, I don't want none of them because it's like you selling it to them. Nobody wants to be sold.
Did you make that transition? Like, all right, I need to start resolving problems. Did it dawn on you while you were showing it to somebody, or did you kind of just
No,
sit there by yourself one day? And was like, listen, I gotta have a new approach.
No, it
How
took
did that
a
happen?
it took a few years to change, to flip the script in your head that this ain't it's a sale, but it's not a sale.
Okay.
It's I'm going in, I'm looking, this person has a problem. That's why they called me, or that's why they filled out this card. They got a problem. I read this card, and my job is to figure out how I can resolve this problem for this person. And so then I go to the house and I get the information from them. I sit down with them. We talk about it, and then if sometimes I had I have enough information where I can show them some solutions right there, and then sometimes I have to do some homework, and we have to get a second appointment. But it took a while for me to change how I thought about what I was doing.
So did you have to in the beginning do a kind of knocking on doors, calling? Was that so part of the game early on for you?
Yeah, that's definitely all inclusive. When I first started, I was working at a company, and those situations are captured agencies where you go in. Technically, you don't work for that company, but you work for that company, but you don't. They don't give you a salary or anything. You still have to go out and sell. But those clients don't belong to you. They belong to the company.
So
So,
it's true commission. It's true.
yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
So, starting out, they were telling us, you couldn't be successful unless you made 500 phone calls. We needed at least 12 appointments to see people. If you didn't have that, you need to go out and door knock. So I would make the phone calls. I would go out and do the door knocking. Door knocking, honestly, was more comfortable for me as opposed to the telephone, because being a consumer first, when you get phone calls that you didn't ask for people to call you, you know how I know how I handle them. Hey, no, I'm not interested. Click. I didn't even want to hear what you had to say because it felt like a sales call.
Yeah.
So I didn't like being hung up on. That was my thing. But I felt like I had a good enough personality where I can knock on somebody's door. We could have a conversation. They wouldn't be rude to me. If wasn't interested, they'd tell me they weren't interested. And that would be the end of it. But the hang-ups, the cursing out, all of that stuff was...
It's all extra.
Yeah, and that for me, and even to this day, is still a challenge because you try not to take it personal because they don't know you and you don't know them.
Right.
But it's still hard to hear somebody, what you call me for? Get the fuck, they hang up on you. And even with, I got a funny one where I went to this lady's house early in my career, and I was knocking on her door. And the screen door was, the big door was open, but the screen door was open. So I knew somebody was at home because the TV was on. So I knocked on the door, and I heard somebody say, "Bye." And I was like, okay, maybe she didn't hear me. So I knocked in. She was like, "Bye." And I'm sitting here like, I wonder if she on the phone or something. So I knocked again. She came to the door. She said, "You ain't hear me?" I said, "Bye. Get away from my porch." I was just like...
Instantly.
And I was like, wow. It was funny. It wasn't as offensive, but it was just funny because I was like, wow.
She didn't want to have no conversation. Just bye.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Yeah, man, that's hilarious. Because I've never, some people will at least be considered. She just already knew. Listen, came from my door.
No, she was like, "Bye," and didn't you hear me? Bye. I said, "Get away from my door." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you was talking to me." I walked to my car and I was cracking up because it was funny to me.
Man, now when you get the opportunity to sit down with someone, and you're helping resolve some issues. There are some people that are transparent with you and tell you honestly what they're looking for. Then there's people who you got to really figure it out for, and what kind of advice would you give to someone who's going to meet an agent like yourself, and what they should kind of have in order before you get there?
Well, I think for the most part, you talking about for the consumer, or are you talking about the agent that goes to the house?
For the consumer, like if I'm a consumer and I'm setting up an appointment with you, there's a lot of times where certain people they're not aware of what they need in reality. Like they're not aware. Like I have I have three kids. I'm not sure exactly what I need, how much it's going to be, but what do I need, and in my age, certain things. What's some of the basic things they should kind of have in place and they should know kind of before you get there to kind of help the process?
Okay, that's a good question. So with that, I would say if you getting ready to meet with any financial professional, if you're single, that's one thing. But if you're married, I think both parties should be there.
Okay.
You should also give yourself some time to talk with that individual because this isn't something like the transaction that you and that financial professional are gonna go through ain't like going to the store and buying a can of green beans. It's stuff that really has to be thought out and carefully planned if you want it to be successful. So you want to have all the pertinent information that you, as far as if anything regarding your home, if you getting your house insured, or if you just want life insurance, making sure that you have the beneficiaries' names, who you want to take care of your affairs, the kids' social security numbers, yours, your wives or husbands, any documentation that you would need to fill out any paperwork if y'all decided to move forward with any of the solutions that they present.
Yeah. So gentlemen out there, I'm like, oh, my wife, she'll take care of it. She'll deal with it, whatever it is. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that because a lot of times what happens is what I found with people is like husband and wife, depending on the situation, sometimes the information doesn't get presented the way that it should be, because we can I can present some information to somebody, but being that I'm an insurance agent, the words come out differently than it would from somebody who really don't know what those terms mean. So when they get that information to the other person,
Yeah.
they looking like, what you talking about? I ain't doing that
Yeah,
mess. And
yeah, yeah.
it sometimes it gets the message or the meaning gets misconstrued when you try to provide a third party or second party to somebody else. So it's important that both of y'all get the information right there.
Yeah. What are all the services that you provide particularly?
For myself, I'm a full service life and health agent. So anything related to health insurance, life insurance, and with those policies, there's a whole gambit of stuff that goes along with there. Because like we were talking about with life insurance, there's several different types of life insurance: whole life, term, universal. It's all kinds of stuff. And then you got short term care, you got long term care, different health care insurances, Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage plan, prescription plans. So it's a lot of different services that I can help people with.
So for someone has a small business and they're looking for health insurance for themselves and their 4 employees that they have,
Yep.
you'll be able to help them, and particularly for
Yes.
whatever they need.
Uh-huh.
And as well as because I mean, and that's great because they don't have to just have health insurance. Like, hey, look, we could provide life insurance with this small business as well. That's also possible?
That's also possible.
Okay, and so for those of you out there that need life insurance as well as health insurance for your small business and your
Here we go.
employees, yes, this this in particular, that's amazing because that's a big hurdle for a lot of small business owners. I can tell you for a fact, you're the first agent I've met that has health insurance as well as life insurance that introduces them, and and a lot of people. I don't know if that's just if I don't know. Maybe you make more money just particularly with life insurance than health insurance as well, or if it's easier to deal with. But a lot of them just have life insurance.
I think it's more so on the agent, because for myself, life insurance, both of them are lucrative
Okay.
businesses. It just depends on how you want to set it up because one, to me, provides a better residual income stream than the other one does.
Okay.
And so when a lot of agents go into insurance, life insurance is usually the easiest start because health
Okay.
insurance has a lot of challenges because of the training that you have to go through because which depending on which carrier you're with, how many different carriers. Because like for myself, I think I have 9 different healthcare carriers:
That makes
HAP,
sense.
Humana,
Yeah.
WellCare, Molina, and so every year you have to recertify with those companies because they put new health products out. So they want you to be certified knowing what their product offers to those individual consumers. So you have to get certified every year to sell their products.
Yeah.
And some people don't like the hassle of learning stuff over and over and having to be tested. So
Yeah.
it's almost like going to college all year round. You go every year.
Yep. And like I said, like there's a lot of people out there. I know people who are in real estate. They do that full time. They need health insurance, life insurance. There's people who own different shops and other a different kind of variety of shops. You know, whether they're making food, whether they're a barber shop, a salon, esthetician shop. All these different people. I know a lot of y'all out there that check into the show. You know, a lot of people that have their own trucks. They drive their own trucks, have their CDLs. These are a lot of people who have their own small business and probably been with the same one for years, not aware of a better option out there. Not aware of that new options and opportunities that are available. They probably just been dealing with the same thing for years and not know, oh, I just got Medicaid, you know, and don't have something else available to them.
and being that, like you're saying, the small business, the entrepreneurs, there's they're usually technically they're not offered like the 401k, the retirement plans.
Right.
So there's other avenues that they can take to create a retirement plan for themselves
Wow.
outside of a Roth IRA, because a Roth you can only contribute what 6,000 a year. With other options that they have, they can put more money into it to take out at a later date. That'll grow tax free, and they can take it out at a later date, and they won't have any penalties on it either.
So you're introducing also another opportunity for 401k options for small business owners. That's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of these are the different hurdles that a lot of small business owners they can't get over. They have to deal with. I can't get anybody hired. I don't offer this. I don't offer it at a competitive rate either. If I try, and that's a big hindrance for a lot of them.
And a lot of it is a lot of business owners. It's a hefty cost for a lot of small businesses to be able to provide benefits, because generally with most healthcare benefits either is generally a 50-50 split, or it might be a 60-40 with the employer taking the bulk of the healthcare, paying for those individuals, so it can cost them a lot of money. And for a small business owner who might just be able to make enough to stay afloat, that could be a challenge for them. So there's other options that they can provide, or other options that might get them tax credits, because they have, with the introduction of the Affordable Care Act in 2010, with Obama, people call it Obamacare.
Yeah.
But he introduced a program. It's called SHOP, Small Business Owners, Small Business Health Options Program, where if you had anywhere from 1 to up to 50 employees, they offer some options where they can get tax credits for providing health and dental benefits to their employees. Now, that's an option for them, or they can, and of course they can do that through me. I can help them with that, and there's also individual options. So
That's great.
there's a few things that they can
It
do.
was you mentioned affordable health care and Obamacare. I seen a video one time, and guy was going around and ask people, "What do you think American people should go with more, the Affordable Health Care Act or Obamacare?" And they was like, "You know what? I really think Affordable Health Care Act is more appropriate than Obamacare."
Yeah.
And it's so messed up that many people really did not know that they were not different. They're one and the same.
They're one and the
And
same.
it was people that it just sounded more appealing because it wasn't Obama's name in it, unfortunately. But there are certain people that, hey, the Affordable Health Care Act, it sounds fair, I was hearing that a lot. So some of the ways that you, because obviously since 2000, I believe you said you joined in 2013, you joined the industry, and the social media accessibility now is a lot more than it was even then.
Yeah.
And
Way more.
is that kind of alleviated you from having to go knock on doors and make cold calls?
It is making it a little bit easier, but it's also making it more challenging too, because
It's oversaturated.
it's oversaturated, and then you got the call centers that are calling people. You got JJ on TV talking about it's free.
Yeah.
So depending on where people are getting their information at, they even more skeptical about purchasing now. So it's really important that we as agents, when we go out to talk to people, we engage them and find out what their problem is, as opposed to going in trying to sell stuff, because they're being sold all the time.
And so for those of you out there that may not be aware of this, life expectancy on a male and female, women traditionally live longer than men. I looked at the life expectancy, says 74 years, and women 80 years. There's a lot of people that have been blessed with even more than that, but that's what they say is for the U.S. right now. There's a lot of people that I know of that passed too early, and I'm sure you probably know some as well that passed too early. And GoFundMe's constantly come out, and I made it a point to say to people that I know, I said, listen, everybody I love, y'all know this. Don't call me anymore for GoFundMe. Don't contact me anymore for GoFundMe's. There's too many life insurance policies and people
Options
having them
out there.
so many out there. Now I personally know somebody who does it, so I really gonna be mad if y'all call me. I'm gonna give y'all his number. As far as getting yourselves together, and when anybody even talks about it, that they can make plans prior to anything happening. Too many things can happen to people. Too many unfortunate situations have happened. I lost a little brother who was 19 years old in the middle of the night, had a heart attack the day before my birthday. I did not expect that to happen. Fortunately, the family had plans in place that took care of things, but that was something that people may not be aware that can happen to them. You know, my brother was talking to me the day before my birthday, and said he was about to come on up, and you know he's gonna spend the week with me for my birthday, and that was the last conversation I had with him. He had no idea, he wasn't expecting at all that was gonna be happening in
Sorry to hear
5 more hours
man.
from that point.
That was rough.
A lot of people go day to day. A lot of parents, y'all know this. Let's be real. A lot of parents have children that they live a different lifestyle, and you know, parents, look out for your children in this way. Have that discussion, have that conversation with my friend here, Cedric, because there's different things that we need to be made aware of. There are people that inherit debt from their parents because certain things weren't put into place. My sister made a choice to say, I'm going to get a life insurance policy that's not going to only just cover me and if anything should happen to me, but my kids won't inherit debt. That it will be enough to pay out, that it will cover the cost of my house and whatever other things that may need to be done. My mother was another one like that, that before she passed, this was always a hard conversation to have with her. Said, Mom, we need to get life insurance for you. We need to get some insurance for you, life insurance. No, you don't got to do it. You just talking death on me. You just trying to, I don't want to talk about all that. You know,
You don't
that's
know
the
how
most
many times I
uncomfortable
hear that.
thing. And you know, we're not always going to be here we're not all immortal. And then 2 years after that conversation, maybe three, after that conversation, my mother did pass, and I had to pay a lot of money, you know, to with me and my auntie, we had to come together and really get a lot of stuff done for her, and it cost us a lot to do that. And I said, I'll never do this again. I'll never do this again for anyone. Everybody's gonna have to have that conversation. With all that being said, when you're sitting there at the table or you're sitting on the phone or you're talking to someone, is it still not registering to people that this is real? Is it still like a really hard thing to? What's kind of your approach that you kind of can work through talking about that, because it's
I
very
think
serious.
for the most part, a lot of my clients are a lot older, and the challenge for them is finance, money, because the older you are, the more the insurance costs.
Right.
And if you've been on this planet for 70, 75 years, of course the insurance is going to be it's going to be sky high. You're on a fixed income at that time, you're on Social
Yeah,
Security.
yeah.
So it's going to be a challenge. But what I try to recommend to those individuals is that, you know, you got people that love you. You got children, you got brothers, you got sisters. They don't have $10,000 in their account, do they?
Man.
Most of the time they say, nah.
No.
Well, they can pay this premium and not have to worry about paying that 10,000, 15,000 when you do pass. They can help you with that. Y'all can split the cost of it. It and just like you said, a lot of times people wait to the last minute, because I was guilty of that too. Before I got into insurance, I didn't realize that insurance is based on your age. So the younger you are, the cheaper it is.
Yeah.
So for the same price that most of these people go out and buy, you know, a pint of Cavassier, a pack of cigarettes, that's the same premium they can be paying for the life insurance.
Yep.
It's not that expensive.
Yeah, I barely even noticed it come out of the account like it. So, but for people who are, you know, need to make sure they take care of it. Well, some of the, I guess no age is the best age, but they kind of don't want to wait until this particular time in their life.
I would say the earlier the better. As a parent now, I would encourage anybody, if you have a child, you should go ahead and get them life insurance
Yeah,
from their birth.
from the birth. Yeah, okay.
Because it's gonna be dirt cheap. What, maybe $5 at the most for that to cover that child. $5, you're not gonna miss $5 a month, and that
Yeah.
child to have it until they're grown.
Yeah.
And even after they're grown, they can still afford to pay $5 a month.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, if you get a whole life policy, the price is never gonna change. It's always gonna stay the same.
So for everybody out there, as soon as you checking out of that hospital, as soon as you about to wherever, I mean, you just in general, when you got to take care of yourself, you as a technical adult, you don't even have kids. At 18 years of age, go ahead and get you a life insurance policy. It's gonna be dirt cheap. He is not kidding. It is. He's not just saying that because he's an agent. I'm telling you, as a consumer, it is cheap. It is well worth it. You don't have to deal with that burden. The people that love you, care about you at that point in your life will not have to inherit that burden. Please be considerate of those people around you. This is a loving thing to do.
It is.
It's a loving thing to do to not make people inherit debt or have to deal with another financial burden because you may be the person that was taking care of everything. I made that clear. Like some of my friends, like, what if something happened to you?
One of the things, Dewey, a lot of people don't realize is that when they don't have life insurance, that impacts their legacy, how people think about them when they're gone. So think about this. When the individual dies, that family experiences a whole bunch of trauma,
Yes.
feelings, everything. They lost a loved one.
Yeah.
Some people lose some financing. They
Yeah.
might be paying some bills, might be borrowing some money from that person.
Yep.
Not only do they not have that person that they love, that person who's their provider, now they have to struggle, sell dinners, GoFundMe. They got to go through the embarrassment of begging for something
Yes.
that people saw this person as a responsible person. Now they see this individual as an irresponsible person,
Yep.
a mooch. That's what people remember about that individual
Man, I'm
when they say
telling
that name.
a
Oh
lot of
man, he ain't had no insurance. Man, I remember we had to sell them dinners. Or they say he ain't got no insurance. How come he ain't got none? He had a
Yeah.
good job.
Yep.
He had whatever,
And all them people think about it. Like I've heard people personally say, well, remember when I helped you with so and so when you had to bury that person?
Yep.
Now you putting them in a whole different position. I know people that fell out for real behind that.
Yep.
Like, oh, you can't look out for me right now when I helped you when what's name need to get buried and all. These are things that you can help avoid all these conversations. Some of y'all may not care because you're gone and you like it's not my problem anymore. But no, it don't work like that.
No.
You got to have love and care for the people. This is very important. This is extremely one way of showing, just you care about your loved ones, looking out for your loved ones as well. It's some people that got a new opportunity or a good start in their life because of insurance policy that was left to them. And thinking about it from that aspect, you may have I'm gonna tell you right now, I have grandkids, they're gonna get life insurance as well. You may have them that need that start in their life when, hey, look, my grandma or my grandpa's life insurance policy helped me with this in my life. Let's get back to doing some of those things for people inherit better things and not burdens in our families, So before we get out of here, man, is there anything we want to make sure we bring up in particular about this subject? And 'cause we got so much more I wanted to get into in this next one.
I think we've hit majority of what we need to hit as far as life insurance is concerned. But if they have any other questions, they can definitely get in touch with me through my phone number, 586-745-0409. Or they can go online, schedule an appointment. My website is my name, cedricjoiner.com. They can go there. It lists everything that I help, all the different things that I help people with, and you can schedule a consultation, and we can talk. Doesn't cost you anything. So if you just got general questions, I can be a resource to you to get those questions answered.
And you will see obviously in this video, you'll probably see more than likely at the beginning of the video a lot of his information. You'll see the website, you'll see the number, y'all for those of you who know about the Cigar Room Show, you'll see a lot of those items there available. So you definitely it'll be posted. So with this interview, the information will be there, made available. And man, I just really appreciate you, man. Really appreciate you giving us that whole perspective and outlook on things that should be and are really important to us.
Yeah.
So thanks again, man. Everybody out there, I hope you have a blessed and prosperous week from the Cigar Room Show. Thank you again, Cedric. Man.
Thank you, Dewey, for having me, and thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Part 2 is gonna be coming soon. Thank you.